Alright, people, let's say we go clean up the city streets a little bit. I was thinking we'd start in Hightown. It's hard to get a good night's sleep with all these thugs running around. Also, we have a appointment to keep. Got a message in our quest log saying, hey, meet us at midnight in Hightown. Yeah, nothing ominous there, right? Sure, coming right along. Should I bring the beer? Got a party?
You
A little catching up to do?
Who are you? You probably thought you'd got away with it. Sir Karas and the others' deaths. Do you even remember them? They were searching for the missing Starkhaven apostates and were murdered. An inquiry determined the apostates must have killed the Templars, but I've suspected for years that Sir Thrask and you were responsible.
I wouldn't let them take the apostates. Then Sir Karas ordered his men to attack.
I knew it. You stood in the way of their holy duty, and you think that excuses your actions. My brothers, tonight, justice will be done.
Well, you can stand on holy duty if that's what it was. They were there, just there to murder some people because they could. There was much thugs as the blood mages we reluctantly saved, really just to prove a point. But so I guess this doesn't happen if you side with the Templars, go ahead and kill the apostates, but then again, something else probably occurs with the mages or something, you know, an ambush like this, or I'm guessing. I don't know all the possible outcomes, but random events will occur based on the decisions you make, like any other BioWare game, right? Okay, now this is the guy I was looking for, this hunter right here. These guys, in my opinion, are the nastiest of all the assassins. It seems like they can stealth more. They have better armor. They're basically like a rogue warrior, kind of, and they can hit you sometimes as hard from the front as they do from behind. I mean, seriously. These guys are damage dealers. They got my respect. I hate them, but they got my respect. Now, I'm thinking this spot right here that was reserved for this particular little side quest, whatever, is actually where one of the Hightown thugs is going to spawn at night. And so once we clear out the town, we'll probably have to leave, like, I don't know, go off into the Blooming Rose or off into Fenris's house or something. And then let the area refresh and then come back. Now, usually I like to take down the lieutenants early if I can, but we've got hunters running around and other things and all these archers to take care of. One thing about these archers being so spread out is they weren't all receiving the buff from the lieutenant, I don't think. Didn't seem like. I think they have to be in a certain range of the lieutenant to get their uber health regen and all that other crap they get as a benefit. Alright, so all kinds of different loot stashes should spawn around here. I want to look off into some corners for that also. But just like the guard pretenders in Act 1, these guys have their various pretty much common spawn spots. And you try to get them, I try to get them to duplicate if I can. If I can clean out one wave and then leave and come back, I hope that one of those areas respawns another batch. Just for the extra XP, but either way, I think we're going to have to leave the area once. It depends. I mean, you'll know, because when you finally kill the final wave or whatever, final little group of thugs here, then you'll get a note saying, you know, where their secret base is, just like all the other ones. So, hope to get as many waves as we can before that happens, because I think once that happens, you're pretty much stuck. They're not going to spawn anymore for you. One group that you can kind of exploit a little bit, I believe, is the group on the docks in Act 1. If you can avoid, I think their boss always spawns in the same spot, down towards the end, by that very last pier. And if you don't go down there and you can leave the area and come back, you can get a few extras out of it. I think more so than the rest of these groups, but anyway. I didn't do all that, but if I was just playing for myself off camera, probably would take advantage. Be interesting to see just how many levels I could squeeze out, including all DLC and maximizing all the little side quests and taking advantage of any extra spawns and all that good stuff. So notice they're worth a little more. Instead of like 150 or 250, whatever, now they're 300. I'm trying to remember in Act 3 if there are new thugs for every area. It seems like there is. I'm not sure. I think so. Act 3 seems to be the shortest of the three, but I don't know that it needs to be. It just seems like usually by the time I get there, I'm leveled where I want to be, and I just kind of get through the game type thing. Although you can finish up a lot of companion stuff in Act 3. Also, I think some stuff is missable if you don't do things in a certain order. It seems to me that some quests either won't pop up for you, or the option to do a whole different quest will rely on you finishing, you know, some small, seemingly random thing. And until that's done, like maybe a whole line of other quests won't even show up type thing, and you can essentially miss them. Try to be as thorough as I can, though. Really working off memory. Got a little stuck between attacking him or all the other 50 people that just dropped out of the ceiling, right? Her. I should say her. I think these are all female rogues, bandits. Actually, I think there may even be a little lore behind all these. The Silent Sisters. I don't think they're related to the Silent Sisters in Orzammar. I don't think. Man, we got another random band. I do not know what's up with these guys. Sometimes they show, sometimes they don't. The Denerim Avengers. I think their presence here is based on some other decision you make at some other time or something. I'm not sure. If I did know it one time, I've forgotten. So, either way. These guys have archers with them, and they seem to all be at least normal or higher level as far as their health bars go. And we still got one of these stupid sisters running around backstabbing everybody. Annoying. Stealth isn't a problem with these guys, is it? Look at this. They can spam it. That's why it's good to have your tank immune to criticals. I see her naturally keeping her distance. I don't have to go micromanage her to get out of the way. She'll do it on her own, at least most of the time. Unless you're, you know, fighting in a box. A little small, closed-in space. There's not a whole lot you can do. So, I'm starting to see that's a good idea just to kind of keep an eye on her. She can give you a little bit of time to come help her by, you know, escaping a little bit. But keeping an eye on basically who's gotten aggroed on your mages is actually a good idea. Because sometimes Aveline just can't pull it all. She just, you know, either the enemies are out of range of her taunt, or the mages are just hitting too hard and they get distracted and immediately try to go mob the mages. And really, it's with this build, it's really a matter of keeping both mages on their feet, because Merle is buffing you with the uber important elemental weapons. It's really a must-have, because her staff damage type is what carries over to your weapons. That's the way they made it in this. The Dragon Age 2 combat mechanics is whatever staff they're carrying, that switches it up. You don't need a separate spell for, like, say, fire or ice or lightning or whatever. It's built into their staff, and elemental weapons is just a, you know, it's just a passive effect that goes to everybody. And so, once you find an enemy's weakness, you can go into an area. Like, you can go into an area and say you just have an absolute fail, and there's those little shield symbols are popping up on everybody. They're either immune or like 75% resistant to anything you're doing. Well, you know, you're reducing a major portion of your damage, if not all of it, right? And go find out what they're weak to. Like someone who's immune to lightning might be weak to fire, like, say, I think the Qunari, you know. Or immune to cold, like, say, the Mabari. But they're also susceptible to fire, I believe. Maybe it's lightning. And some enemies have an immunity to one thing and don't really have a weakness to anything. They take normal damage from everything, but they're completely immune to certain stuff. I think dragons are a case of that. They have resistances to just about everything except frost, and I think they're only a % weak to frost. They're like completely immune to fire, and I think highly immune or highly resistant to a couple other things. Maybe spirit. Unlike Inquisition dragons, most Inquisition dragons are all weak to spirit damage. Or at least the lightning ones are, right? I don't know. I don't have a chart sitting in front of me, obviously, you know, with all that stuff. But anyway, having some idea of what enemies are really, really susceptible to, just change out Meryl's staff, and you're going to see a huge buff to your party, including not only herself, right? Like if she's got a fire staff and she's got elemental weapons active, her fire staff is going to get a small bonus, believe it or not. And so will Anders' staff. Even if he's using, say, a frost staff, you know, he'll still get a small fire damage bonus. So that's why you'll see like these multiple numbers coming up off their heads. Like I think that the dark blue ones are spirit damage from my main hand weapon, and then the white numbers are basic damage, and then of course you have other color numbers for criticals and all that. So you have all these different effects coming in, and then say, you know, I'm using a spirit weapon, but Meryl's got us all buffed with lightning. So then, you know, the numbers come up off of that. And then I think, you know, critical modifiers can apply to both, I believe, base damage of your weapon and your elemental upgrade. Although it'd be a much smaller number most of the time, I'd imagine. You know, so all those things are factoring in. So you see huge numbers coming off of each strike because it's all the different passives and buffs and things that you got going on. Damage types that you're putting out and stuff like that. Alright, so I think I've pretty much made a route around the city. So what I'm going to do is just drop off in Fenrir's house. Actually, I might see if he needs to talk about anything. He didn't pop up on the companion list yet. When your companions want to talk to you, it's usually after a certain point in the story. Probably after the next main story mission we do, everybody will want to chat and either start their own little personal companion thing for that particular chapter, or they just want to talk, and maybe you earn some free friendship or rivalry points with them, you know, something like that. So it's probably going to be later. That's why I'm trying to do all this side stuff early, now, so that it'll clear the way for hopefully more spawns of enemies later on, and also to try to get as many quests active as possible. At some point here, we also need to head to the, what is it? The thing with Corypheus. Corypheus. Need to go off and do that DLC. I'm really kind of itching for that because I want to see if there's any little insight into lore and stuff, any little cool tidbits to pick up, and so I can take it to my friends and discuss new theories and things. We've been coming up with theories lately. That's the big thing. We'll find some just seemingly irrelevant little detail in something like, I saw 3 clumps of grass on the side of the road instead of 2. Illuminati confirmed, you know, stuff like that, right? And come up with all these just outlandish theories. And not all of them are. Some of them are actually kind of seeming to carry some weight, actually hold some water. I think that's pretty cool. Alright, so best thing is probably to go back over here where that ambush was with the Templar lady. And yeah, usually when you get a little stutter, little frame rate drop there for a second, that means it's trying to spawn the 50,000 enemies you're fixing to have to fight. Alright, you see the chain lightning hit everybody when they're clumped together, alright? Have them set for that, and chain lightning can also trigger a cross-class combo. So basically, if they're clumped together with, say, 3 or more enemies, and if they're affected by a certain status effect, like say from your warrior or your rogue or whatever, whoever produces the effect they need, disoriented or whatever it is, then they'll throw that off. But I don't have them just spam it. I have them use it in certain situations. Also, sometimes some of those spells, which seems to cover a large area, assign them to use them when enemies are at short or medium range, because often the case when they're short or medium range means they're in my mage's face. If they're not directly attacking my mage, they soon will be, type of thing. And so paralyzing them as a group and possibly just outright getting rid of a few of them is a definite plus, especially if you can capture 15, 20 people together. If you're fighting just a huge mob, which there's a couple situations like that, that's huge. If you can soften up the targets to where if they're not outright just killed for the smaller enemies, which Meryl has been known to take out 10, 15 guys at once, you know, that type of thing, just with one simple spell, if it hits just right, especially if there's already some kind of status in effect. But if they can soften them up to where you can come in and finish them all off with just like one hit, and you can just move from enemy to enemy, not only do you feel like a friggin' ninja going from target to target, but it makes those almost seemingly insurmountable mob battles almost easy, you know? The really real downside really to this build is lightning resistant enemies. There it's more of a single target thing, and thankfully for the most part, like Canary, don't come in real big mobs. There's a couple decent sized mobs that you have to fight. I was hoping for a respawn right here. It looks like I'm not going to get one. Actually, come think of it, there are a couple times where they throw some numbers at you. Seems like there's more than there are because a lot of them are real tough. They have decent armor and they have a lot of health. They're pretty stout. But still, regardless, not being affected by lightning, it takes a lot of my mage's arsenal out of there. But it also, knowing you're going to go in and fight specifically Canary, and basically only Canary type of thing, if you get kind of familiar with some of those particular quests or missions. I think I've already been in here at night, haven't I?
Go on up, sir.
I think so. Looks like, what's his name? Thrask is starting to hang out here. I think that was Thrask. But it does leave them more mana available for other spells. And like with Merle, I mean, mana isn't even a problem. But with Anders, you can really concentrate on healing. If all he really is worried about is maybe, say, paralysis, stone fist, things like that. If he's got his mana free for those, then, of course he can use those more often. So that's a good thing. Like I say, Meryl, whether you got her casting 100 spells or just one, that doesn't matter. Mana's not really a problem. As long as she's standing, she can sling spells. She's a friggin' battery. All these little guys. I'm really trying to get over here. Once again, notice my mages, even with Avalanche, still just drawing hate. It's because they hit hard, They hit hard and they hit groups. And I think there's still maybe one or two more passive skills that we can use to increase her threat. Possibly even find her gear. I know if she wasn't using this DLC item, there is an axe that we got shortly before we headed to the Deep Roads that improved. I think it was from the captain in the Guard Pretenders, in Night Lies. I believe he dropped it, but it increases threat generation. And I don't have Varric here to take the heat off the mages and put it back on Aveline where it belongs. But notice Aveline's over there. She can hold it now. She's becoming more and more tanky. She could be a little tankier right now, but I have her doing a few different things, which is helping. Either way, like I said in the last video, in the long run, it'll wind up the same. You got several skills you can either pick first or later. Whatever. I mean, you can't have them all at once, so you kind of got to choose. Alright, decent drops too. So this is profitable, not just XP, but few silver here, a few silver there, and when we turn it in, we'll get some gold also, right, for cleaning up this particular gang. And so we'll have at least 3 mobs that we can turn in, if not 4 in Act 2. So you got Hightown, Lowtown, the docks. It seems like there's another random mob that maybe you can turn into that lady. I don't remember. I mean, at some point she tells you, hey, good work. It seems like that is at the end of Act 3. It seems like in Act 3 there's also 3 more mobs at nighttime. One of you guys correct me if I'm wrong, and then you turn all those in, and then at some point she just says, thanks, you made Denham a lot safer, type of thing, and then you're done. She kind of lets you know that you're done, and I think you get an item. I believe you get a weapon from her. I don't know if it's really a good one or anything. It seems like it's an axe. Axe for a warrior. Seems like that's what you get. It'd be cool if it's an item based on your class, so it could be an axe or a dagger or a staff type thing, but I believe it's an axe or a sword, no matter what. That sounds right. It's been a long, long time. Love stepping away from my favorite games of all time for a little while, and coming back to where they're kind of fresh again. So you're not really experiencing it all over again necessarily. I mean, you kind of already know what's going to happen and all that, right? But it makes some of the experiences new again. If you haven't heard a joke in a while, that might be kind of funny. If you hear the same joke every day, it gets old. But if you haven't heard it in some time, then sometimes you can get a chuckle out of it later. It's that type of thing, really big reason I'm kind of excited about going back and playing Fallout 3. Oh, I thought I would hold kind of a poll for anyone who's tuning in here. Is I guess selection is kind of limited. Not really sure what new games coming out that I can or will get into, but some of the older ones I like to go back and rehash my favorite games. I think they're good, solid, quality games like Fallout 3, Mass Effect. Thought about that series. Even heard people trying to. Oh, there we go. All right, that's it. That was the final. That was the final Silent Sister, Invisible Sister. I guess we need to go see where their hangout is. But I was going to poll you guys, and oh, we got a glitch in the ground. Look at that. Almost looks like mountains down there or something. That's kind of cool. That would be the ground under Kirkwall or something? All right, anyway. Very weird. Don't know why that's there. But I heard rumor started on Twitter that they were going to remaster Mass Effect, the series. And I'm like, if they put Mass Effect on next gen, you give me Mass Effect 1, maybe even with some retooled combat, to where it plays just like Mass Effect 2 and 3. You can keep the same numbers, I want the same skill trees and all that were, I thought, pretty well balanced. But if you, retool the mechanics maybe a little bit, but all the graphics, retexture everything, and even maybe still include the movie grain, but give it that HD quality. Oh my gosh, can you imagine? I'd play through all three of them again. I would go platinum all three games again. In fact, I would probably go get an Xbox just to play them on Xbox also. Xbox One, just to get the trophies for that. Just because. Not trophies, but achievements. But anyway, yeah, I would so play that. But anyway, speaking of Mass Effect, thought about that. I don't know, a 3-game series, you're talking about months, investing months into that. Months and months. Fallout 3, not so much. But I just look forward to playing it again, to tell you the truth, and I'd like to share it. It's one of my it's my top 2 or 3 favorite games all time, period. And I know it still has a lot of fans. I think it has even as many fans as New Vegas and some of the other stuff, so I need to assassinate this person. Get tired of your thug life. Get you out of the picture. And then let's see what else. I thought about a Kingdoms of Amalur. Maybe even rebooting Dragon's Dogma. I hadn't played that in forever. That's kind of under the radar game, it seems. A lot of people played it, but it doesn't get talked about much. But considering the quality of the game, that's kind of surprising. I put some really good, solid hours in that game. I thought it was a lot of fun. Both systems. It's another one. It was worth playing on PlayStation again. Complete gamed it on Xbox and came over here and platinumed it on PlayStation also. I just say that because the games that I actually go out of the way to get a platinum for, the ones that I like having on my trophy list, saying that's my way of saying this to me is right there at the top of my list. This game was worthy of this, in my opinion. This game really hit that nerve and gave me a lot of enjoyable hours, so yeah, it's definitely worthy of a platinum or a complete game. I was on Xbox much longer than I've been playing on PlayStation, so I had a lot more games completed on that. But I've come and redone a lot of them here. Same ones that I had completed over there. All the Mass Effects, Dragon Age, other than Inquisition. Of course, it wasn't out yet at the time. Fallout 3, of course. One thing I haven't complete gamed is New Vegas. On this, I had it on Xbox all the way up till... one of the last... I forget. I think Lonesome Road. By the time that DLC came out, I'd played it into the ground, right? But up to that point, I had like every achievement. And spent some time in that, and it had fun. But you know what? All the fun that I had in New Vegas was thinking about how it related to Fallout 3. I'm not going to lie. That is actually the truth. 90% of the fun that I had in New Vegas was saying, wow, this reminds me of Fallout 3. It wasn't anything unique to New Vegas. In fact, my biggest knocks were the things that was missing. The atmosphere, the ambience, the thing that Fallout 3 had. Kind of like the thing that Oblivion had that Skyrim completely missed the mark on. That just wasn't there, That certain thing. You can make it fancier and you can spruce some things up, but there's that whole feel, that character of a game that even makes some 8-bit games worth playing just because they just hit that magical... Either they put the right music in the right place, or they just set the right tone, or they say the right thing at the right time, or whatever, but it strikes that nerve, and it just kind of like graves that game into your head, and you can't get rid of it. It's just there, it's going to take that place in the top shelf of your brain as all-time favorite games, and it's not going to leave, Fallout 3 is definitely one of those. Oblivion was my first real open world RPG bring D&D to life game. I know there was some before that, of course Morrowind, you'd bring that up, and I heard that was amazing. Wish I'd played that first. I wish I had. I didn't, to my shame. I really wish I had, and I would definitely understand anyone saying Morrowind was the best one they made, right? And that they probably dumbed down some stuff for Oblivion. I don't know. But Oblivion, they touched everything. You had the crafting, and you had even repairing your own weapons and running around, and you felt like you were running around clinking through these dark caves with your torch and your friggin' heavy bag of stuff, and hoping ogres didn't jump out of every corner. I mean, it was just immersive. So just, and that hit my nerve. I never got that in Skyrim. It just missed it. Oh, look, pretty trees and shrubs. Yeah, that's all great and everything. Oh, look, that deer running through the woods. All right. Okay. Awesome. But when it comes down to the whole ambience, have I ever been in this room before? I don't think I've ever come behind the bar, y'all. I don't think I have. Ever. Oh, you'll be saying, I've been back there 1,000 times. I never thought about it. That's cool. If I have, I certainly don't remember it. Anyway. But, anyway, just kind of getting sidetracked. But I was thinking of doing a Fallout 3 playthrough. Don't think it'll take real long. It can be a huge game, but it doesn't have to be all that long. Think about like getting the bobbleheads and running around and exploring some of my favorite spots and stuff, and then going through the story and all that. Maybe even messing around with the Brotherhood of with the Broken Steel add on to it. You go to that Air Force base and all that other kind of stuff like that. Maybe not, but at least going through the story and sharing some of my favorite experiences and the coolest elements of the game, because I have a serious joy for that game. So if you would enjoy just playing along with me on that would be really cool. Like I say, I mean, it's kind of hard to put out videos every day and get 20 views all the time. You'd think that there would be some interest. I mean, if that's the case, I'd just play by myself and not bother with all the editing and all that other nonsense if nobody would dig it. But if anybody would kind of get a kick out of that, then I would kind of actually like to do that personally. So if me just enjoying the crap out of a game is why you'd like to sit in and play along, then great. But if there's a particular game you're interested in that you're like, no, we want to see this, and this particularly, as long as it's right in that RPG genre, then I'm all over it. And sure, I've heard Witcher 3 mentioned, and that's still a ways away. And that's one of those games, I think it's so huge and open world that there would be many hours of walking in the same direction aimlessly, not knowing what's happening, that it'd be kind of hard to fill the space. That seems like one of those games I'd want to play through first, maybe even more than once, to get kind of an idea of the hundreds of hours you can shave off of stuff you really don't need to see and do, and then just kind of maintain. Maybe do some Witcher 3 stuff. Like if I find something really cool, or beat a really hard boss, or a mob battle. Because Witcher 3 is really good about sending combinations of enemies at you, a lot like Dragon Age or maybe even Dark Souls, and stuff like that. Certain challenges they'll throw at you that without certain things at your disposal, or without understanding the combat and the tactics of the game, can be brutal. At least Witcher 2 was like that, so I'm assuming they'll have that same principle in place in Witcher 3. So I've heard mention of that. Probably also heard Elder Scrolls, but I would shy away from an MMO on videos, simply because it's going to be 90% grinding. 90%, and that's fun, I guess, to do, but not so much fun to watch. I would think I wouldn't be into it, and I don't really want to pass along things to you guys that I personally just wouldn't be all over. I mean, that's really all I have to go with. So I just say, hey, this is awesome. I wonder if anybody else would like this too. And so what I have a passion for, what I'm just passionate about, what I feel emotionally attached to, that's what I share with you guys. Like I say, I'm open to some suggestions, but as far as old school games goes, I would like either Fallout or Mass Effect, and I'll let you guys decide. But anyway, one of y'all leave a comment in the section below, and if you want to subscribe, click that button up top. For more Dragon Age 2, click that icon in the middle. Thank you for watching. I will catch you guys later. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.